Hi, I'm Lola. This is still The Sims 4, and today you will be watching me create a space museum. Well, actually, a science museum in Oasis Spring. We're back to the speed to build mode today. I just couldn't get myself to do a let's build today. It's been honestly a slightly tiring week. I don't know if it's the fall weather, because for whatever reason it's actually fall weather in Arizona this year. So I'm really excited about that. But enough about Arizona. E- Even though this is a desert town, it is Palm Springs based, not Arizona based. So um that's why I have no loyalties to this world. I'm kidding. I'm being stupid and silly. Anyways, so in this build, there's actually a lot of things going on. I try to make sure that the building itself is not super large and overcrowded with things. So there will be like 2.5 floors. There's a basement floor because of the sunken rocket ship. And in the basement, there will be a gallery of awesome space photos. There will be a little kids area in that room that's right in the center right now. And to the left, that will be like a faux control center with a bunch of bookcases and like that fancy kind of spaceship like desk. And upstairs, there will be a room filled with fish fossils, or just not fish fossils, sorry, mounted fish as well as the frogs, and another room for all of the rocks, including some space rocks and including fossils as well. So it has a little bit of everything. And I did include all three rocket ships, which was really, really exciting. I thought that I might be a little bit hard to do that. Granted, it's such a small lot and these are really large objects, but I pulled it off. And also, fun fact, when you download this build, or any build for that matter that has spaceships in them, they will not be downloaded as finished or work in progress at all. So you will have to restart the spaceship building process yourself, which is just an unfortunate oversight of The Sims 4, but it's not like they do anything thoroughly. Um, but that's neither here and there. What is here and now is that if you have a sim that has a maxed out rocket science skill, you can come here with them, or again, anytime you need a rocket ship and just have them power through it. It takes maybe like a quarter, maybe a half of a sim day to get that done. So you will unfortunately have to either cheat this or actually gameplay to get them, which is again just an unfortunate oversight. But overall, I do think that this is quite a cool lot. And I was rewatching the content because the way I edit these videos, it's like honestly, this was recorded by the way like a month ago. I actually did this one before I did the Willow Creek Museum because I wanted to get inspired, but I also wanted to release the videos in kind of some type of order, which is why I held back on Oasis Spring before. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first Oasis Spring release, so woohoo, we're making some progress. We are making some progress. So, in terms of like what's happening, with like the content releases and things like that, I am still a little bit all over the place and a little bit confused as to what is the best way. Like, I know I've mentioned like the Let's Play a bunch of times, and this was part of prep for it. And I still want to do it, but I apparently just overshot my own confidence as far as how much videos I would be able to like produce within that week, within any given timeline, frankly. So this is taking me a little bit longer. So I think um, I'm gonna start prepping for the Let's Play sooner than later. And in the meantime, we can still continue with the Let's Builds or even some speed builds here and there. I think we will end up doing a mixture of both. And I would love to have some type of schedule that's a little bit more predictable. That's essentially what I'm trying to work on myself right now because I struggle with that. This week has been a little bit all over the place, but I am able to get 3 videos out this week, which is great. Previous week was not as good. So trying to do better. I understand consistency is important in a few different levels, but this is very new, and my ADHD is also new, so I struggle with basic things like that sometimes. But the thing that helps me, for what it's worth, is a little therapeutic, I suppose, for me right now, is like just keep on trying. Once I get the hang of things, once I figure out the flow of things, then it's no longer a problem. Um, but with everything that's been going on with like the move and all of that, which apparently dogs are not allowed to travel anymore out of the state, so that's severely disappointing. But I do think that's due to the shutdown. I'm not sure, uh, but I will have to look into that 'cause I don't want to leave my little nugget behind. He is amazing. He looks like a teddy bear. When he gets shaven, and like, how do you just leave that behind, you know? Anyways, it will be fine. I'm sure of it actually, but um been slightly stressful week this week because of that. And anyways, so to the build. I put the what I'm doing right now is kind of, or what I was doing right now is figuring out their overall layout. So, I do go a little bit back and forth between the upstairs and downstairs in terms of the floors and the wallpaper as well. But I do start from the upstairs floor down, and I did have trouble with the layout for the bathrooms. And I did cut a good chunk of that out actually because it was just kind of going back and forth between the exact layout of them, and I just could not figure out a good placement for them within this building so far. So next time I'm doing a larger community lot venue, I will probably think about the bathrooms first. Because here's the thing. It's a video game, I understand that, but like the vibe is not right. Like it does feel off when the bathroom is in an awkward spot. Like I know the Sims don't care about like smells or anything like that. Um, but I don't know, like I said, it's just the vibes are off otherwise. Like I also don't like having bathrooms right off of kitchens or dining rooms. It just seems wrong. Because I probably wouldn't, well, probably, I definitely wouldn't want that in real life, for myself either. Um, but anyways, so like I didn't want the bathroom here to be like right into an exhibit, so I kind of fudge around with it, but it works out. It's not that bad in the end. And yes, I do tend to overthink these things as well, so this does not help me at all. And in the outside, I do give a good chunk of effort to making this look kind of green as well. So because the like I knew there would be like the fish and the frogs in here already, and I just felt like, nature, sorry, science is also just nature and green things. So um I also enjoy it as someone that's lived in the desert for what, 4 years now. It's green things are awesome. Green things are very, very fucking awesome. So I want to like throw that into here as well. And I actually think it came out a little bit busy to what I'm used to, even outside, but I do think it came out quite cute. And as I was building this, I was really kind of thinking, sorry, not as I was building this, as I was editing this earlier, like reviewing the footage and all that. I was thinking like, wouldn't it be so cool that instead of adding one more lot variation, which the more I think about essentially business and hobbies, kind of business framework, and the fact that, it didn't really, it's same but different from get to work, sure. But I think the custom venues from outdoor retreat 2 do the exact same thing as well. It's like a variation on a community lot, or literally, which most of these should be businesses anyways. So that you can come and do things and people can work here and like do things for you, right? Anyways, wouldn't it be cool like if there was like a specific role that we could identify with various community lots, especially that are pre-made. For example, like why isn't there a librarian at the library that actually can help you do research and things like that? I know there is a person, but like I don't remember what you can really do with them. And I know for a fact there's nobody assigned to museums. I find museums to be quite boring in The Sims 4, which is why for this specific build, I wanted to put in a lot of activities. And that's why, for example, not all of the spaceships are built out so that, you can come here and if you do need that skill, it's a great place to learn it, right? Or chess, or um, I did put a couple of easels out there too, because I believe that's a requirement as well. So like, actual skills are here. And even with the giant telescope, right? So like with museums, what would be really fucking awesome um is if like especially if you tie it together with high school years, like what if we could have staff that is, maybe a manager, maybe just a generic person that like cleans up or whatever, or a ticket salesperson as well. And then like an actual tour guide. And you can like set maybe say 5 to 10 different points that like, come here, point at this painting. Because you have this job of a guide within the museum lot type. Anyways, that's just some things I overthink. I really would love to be able to like make a Sims 5 of my own. I swear. Um, like I really actually enjoy thinking about this kind of things. But anyways, so yeah, so as you can see, I'm trying very hard to do a lot of green out there. And again, as I was looking at the footage when I was editing this, I really should have put, instead of the cactuses up here, just more gardening, like actual potted plants, gardening plants with the Sims. Yeah, within the Sims 4. That actually would have been a nice additional touch to the space, and it would have continued with the greenery theme motif. So over here, I'm putting a bunch of benches. I don't know if it will be this time around or if it's separated out. Never mind, it is this time around. I put a couple of benches out here. Sorry, picnic tables. And later on, I do come back and put chess tables out here instead of some of the benches on one of the alleys. And and yeah, that's pretty much for the outside. I do love that retro rocket though. That looks absolutely bitchin' and amazing. It's really great actually. I even enjoy the colors, especially that light blue. I do enjoy that color overall, but I am kind of sick of it now due to that Let's Build series that I just finished. Series. It was one build, but it was like 5 episodes, wasn't it? It was a little long. I definitely didn't see that one coming. But what else do I tell you? We are 13 minutes in out of 28, so just a little bit under half. Um, that felt very sports broadcasty. But finally, we are going inside of the build, which is great as well. I don't want to, like, I thought about doing a kind of like a fake check-in desk, but I figured since I have to have a certain amount of sculptures and things like that, that would be a great little spot for more of them. And I basically just keep this big one, and eventually I add a couple of plants to its side, but I do move around a little bit right now because I'm essentially very excited about some of the basic things like this airplane or like that statue, because I was just pulling a bunch of things out. And with this airplane, I do play around with it with the tool mod, like I modify it a little bit. Eventually, towards the very end, because this is actually the last room that I do in this build, I just really wanted to figure out the airplane thing. Like you can see that right now, like I'm trying to actually make it seem like it is being hung from the ceiling. It ends up only having one of the lights to it, so it's not realistically hung up. But again, let's use our imagination because honestly, I couldn't figure out how to get it done with essentially the lights. I know that there's like debug items that could have worked as just like a poll, but I either at this point I don't remember if I either just forgot and couldn't have been bothered either. Because I was just honestly very nervous about this build. I was not sure whether or not I can pull off a more fulfilling science museum experience because I didn't want to have the exact same museum as in Willow Creek because Willow Creek is very artsy, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but I actually built this one before the Willow Creek one. because I wanted to kind of get inspired and do something different first. So that's why the other one has a lot more paintings. And yeah, I also tried to make it into a wedding venue briefly, which didn't really work out because it was buggy with just the base game and I was not sure what was going on. It was just like not reflecting the law requirements correctly. So I was like, you know what, let's not mess with this. Let's turn it back into a museum. And yeah, so this is the frog and fish room with a handful of space paintings because I didn't really know what else to put on that wall. I do over time find more of the fish to add onto the walls when, especially when I'm doing the room next door that will have a bunch of crystals and things like that. So yeah, so also this is why this room is green and brown because of the fish and the frogs. You know, nature's green and a little brown, whereas the room with the fossils and the crystals, then it's, you know, browner, it's dirt and whatever. And I do play around, I think for the first time in years with the actual lighting in the game. I usually do not bother, but I wanted the rooms to be a little kind of fun and funky and whatever. And in the fish frog room, I think I could have done a better job. I remember like looking at this as I was finishing it. I was like, you know what? It's just looks a little bit normal. Like you can see a little bit of the blue and the green, but again, could have done a better job, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's still looking fine. This one it's gonna be a little bit pink and a little bit dark, so it's gonna be quite moody. Because as you know, I am a whore from with lighting, so there's that. And I enjoyed using the dirt wallpaper here. That was actually pretty cool because I usually don't know where else to use it besides dungy basements, but I don't do those often to be honest. And overall, like it does look a little bit like dirt for me to use it quite often as something else because you know, um, everything in this game is has to be transferable in a way. We use a lot of things that are not um used by their default or meant to be used functionality, if that makes sense. But yeah. And I do also like even as I was building, I had mixed feelings about the windows as well because they did brighten up those two rooms and I wanted them to have like the moody fun lighting. But overall, I think it came out okay. I think it's a little bit good that, you know, it's not completely dark so you can kind of see what's going on. These are also small rooms, so like, you know, if you have a bunch of Sims crammed in there, it could be more annoying to gameplay through with a completely dark room. But yeah, so I am pulling out a bunch of fossils, and I actually was taking my time with these because I never properly looked at them, to be honest. They're always in my inventory and never like actually out in the world, to be honest. At least not the way I play. So um, I got to check out. I do enjoy the hipster mustache. I think that's kind of funny. But yeah, and then I added a skull in the middle that I end up changing out, I believe 2 or 3 times eventually, because I was not a fan of the blue. I wanted something to look more realistic, but none of them really do. And here I arranged these in the rainbow because I don't really know how else to do it. Like I could have gotten a little bit more messier and like maybe do a little bit of more clusters and like added like shelving and put them on there. To be honest, like it could have been a more interesting display for all of these frankly, yeah, but it's fine. Like it came out alright. I mean, it's not like you can really do that much here, but be a kleptomaniac, you know? So, it just makes that job easier for for the Sims. And here I also mess around a little bit with the colorful lighting as well as of the rocket itself. And yeah, so what else do I tell you? Do I go downstairs? Not yet. So these are the two plans that I said that I put to that side. And now we're going downstairs. So this is almost when I figured out the bathroom layouts. Um, I don't, I honestly, looking back at this, I was like, please tell me that I flipped them so they mirror each other rather than are like you know, in a row. Because I don't, again, visually, just the vibes are off. I prefer when redundant things mirror each other rather than look this way. And yes, yes, I do. Any minute now. So again, Yeah, there we go. So moving things around very briefly, and yeah, I think they came out okay. Like again, the location of this is not ideal, but I was trying to have a balance with the downstairs space without it not being too large either, because again, I didn't want a huge museum. So but I did want the space to be a little bit functional as well. So where I have that giant rocket toy, that's where there will be the gallery. So I think with that gallery space there, the bathroom's doors aren't that obnoxious. um, but yeah, it gave me a little bit of trouble overall. And shortly before I finished the downstairs, I ended up coming back briefly to the bathrooms because you can see I have 0 out of 10 wall decor, and I found out that the gender bathroom decals count as wall decor for the museum, so I just put them above the toilets, just in case the pink or the blue was not obvious. Well, actually, to me, that looks a little bit more like red, but in case the blue was not obvious. And yes, like I said, so this is the faux kind of space station. Uh, lab area, I guess. Like I did appreciate this acid for this specific use because I rarely ever use that desk with the with those chairs because they're very specific. You know, they look like they belong in like either a sci-fi set or just a stereotype of what a lab looks like. Or maybe a dated one from like the 50s or something like that. That looks like it could belong on like a Marvel movie set, um, for the most part, especially the ones more from like Captain America and things like that. And oh, what was Tony Stark's dad? That era, essentially. But anyways, so in the end, I actually do remove that giant rocket because that is where I'll have additional skill building. So in anyways, sorry. I'm a little bit all over the place. It's been a while with the voiceovers, but honestly, I think I'm doing quite well. So I'm very happy and proud of myself. So in this room right here, like I said, this will be just a gallery wall. There will be a handful of more places, especially on that long wall that's behind us, that's in front of us right now. I will add a handful more pieces there. I will add a bunch of, see, there you go. Just needed to use up the yeah, wall decor count, and I'm still actually missing two, so I don't remember what ends up being the last two, just random pieces. Ah, there we go. So yeah, so that's where I'm gonna end up adding two, maybe three wood workbenches and the chemistry table for children. And this is where I also realized while I was trying to find a spot for the easel that for whatever reason my stairs disappeared. Looking back, I think it had something to do with me using platforms in the room below, but yeah, it was very odd, especially also because um, the giant thing that I can't think of the word of, the telescope also disappeared. That's the word. So by the time I got to this room, honestly, I was struggling a little bit. The By this room, I mean the one with the workbenches, woodworking benches. I was struggling. Even with this one right here, like I honestly thought these would count as wall decor, but they didn't, so that's a bummer. Also one more oversight. But whatever. So here I just kept it very simple so that you can easily walk past the artwork into the room with the rocket and with the actual rocket, not the toy one. The toy one, again, I remove it, and I add the children's chemistry lab tables. But honestly, now that I think about it, maybe I do that off camera or I do it towards the very end because right now, like I said, we're in the last room, or I thought this was the last room I do. Maybe I got it wrong in the last half an hour. Anyways, so like I said, also foreshadowing earlier that I was pulling out the chess tables as well. Like I said, I really wanted this to feel like a place for like teenagers to hang out or just whatever age nerd you are. If you want to come here to, yeah, there it is. If you want to come here to, hang out and get smart and do experiments and whatever, then yes, yes, you can. And this last room upstairs, I really struggle with what to do with it. So, I thought maybe that some type of display, and that's what ends up being here. And it's not the best display, honestly, but actually, no, it came out quite well. What am I saying? And I also thought about maybe like a bar or a lounge area. It's not like they can order coffee in base game or like a pastry or something like that. I didn't want this to be a fake check-in area either because it's more appropriate for it to be right by the front door, but whatever. So I kind of kept going with the bar area until almost right about now where I end up deleting everything and I end up using that movie poster of the spaceship dude um or like the sci-fi dude as kind of like the main focus. So like maybe this is a room designated to some actual space explorer because I also end up using, yeah, that's the one, a bunch of just like spacey artifacts to display here. So here we have the um, also that tiny spaceship that's now tiny and some clutter. I think that's the freeze ray in that box. It could be, the freeze ray from that movie poster. Or it could be an actual poster of the astronaut or whatever that dude is, right? Anyways, so back to the airplanes, like, or maybe this is just a war memorial with the planes as well. Who knows? Maybe, you know what it is? It's with some interstellar war that the Sims had with aliens, and yeah, there we go. That's the war. And here I am just moving the airplanes a little bit back so they're at an angle. And like I said, it looks a little bit weird with just one um kind of stick thing holding them up instead of two. Like it looks a little bit odd, but again, this is just a sim, so it's fine. We can all use our imaginations, can't we? Anyways, so how have you been? Are you asleep yet? If yes, good night. I'll see you next time. And if you are still listening, hello, what have you been up to? We are wrapping up this video. We have less than a minute to go, so you're about to enjoy some screenshots. But yeah, let me know how have you been and let me know how have you enjoyed this speed build so far. And I will see you next time. Thanks.
Bye bye.